Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on when you see this video. And welcome to your next episode of Shonda's Talk. The title of this video is called Included versus Tolerated. Unhealed people confuse the difference. Some of you don't have the capacity to truly include people because you are too busy trying to maintain a roster you cannot afford emotionally or spiritually. And because of that, you have become mentally bankrupt. You have become emotionally unavailable. And I don't want to hear it. I'm going to shut down the excuses before you even say it. And it's not because nobody loves you. It is because dysfunction has spread your attention so thin, you no longer know how to nurture consistency, consideration, and intention. So instead, the people in your life get tolerated. They don't get valued, they don't get deeply considered, and they do not get emotionally protected. They get managed. You have become a relationship project manager. When you are unhealed, you often confuse the two all of the time. Tolerated people do get access to you with limitations because you will never truly see their value due to your own limitations and dysfunction. So, come on, let's talk about this. And as I always say, what I need you to do, I need you to listen to me with your ears, not your triggers, your traumas, your brokenness, your bitterness, or your damage. If you can do that for me, let's talk about inclusion and tolerance because they look similar on the surface, but they provide two different emotional experiences. What is the difference? You're saying, Shonda, what is the difference? Tolerance says, I'll deal with you because you are useful to me in some type of way. Inclusion says, I will consider you in my decisions and my choices. And that's the difference. Usefulness and consideration. Consideration is one of the purest forms of love. And we often tend to overlook that. And my personal opinion, I think we need to add that as one of the love languages. Maybe we need, instead of 5, we need 6. Consideration is one of my love languages because the consideration forces you to think beyond someone other than yourself. But when you are a selfish person, the only person you can ever think about is yourself. Included people are thought about. Tolerated people are managed. Like I said, you have become a project manager of relationships because you are tolerating the people in your life. When you are included, you make room, time, and sacrifices for the people in your life. When you are tolerated, you are consistently feeling like you are begging for time and attention and permission to exist in someone's life emotionally. And my God, in the year of 2026, we have been living in dysfunction for so long that we think emotional confusion is normal. And that is crazy work. That is insane. So let's talk about what tolerance actually looks like. Tolerance lacks consistency. Inconsistency will always create emotional instability. So a few examples of that. You only hear from people when it benefits them. You are constantly questioning where you stand with a person, feeling emotionally disconnected even when you are in that person's presence. You are included physically. Why? Because everybody makes time for the boom boom, but you are excluded emotionally. Always adjusting yourself to avoid feel like you are too much. Delayed communication with no consideration. Baby, nobody is that busy. Your text calls should not go hours and days without being answered or returned. It takes 5 seconds to send a voice text, a video, anything with Siri, Gemini, AI, whoever you have to send a text. Nobody, again, is that busy. Feeling like your value depends on how useful you are to them in the moment. And you see, the dangerous part of that is unhealed people often overlook and overwork to keep the connection going because they know, even though they know deep down inside, they would never make room for them emotionally. And dysfunction actually teaches you things. And that's why you need to go to therapy so you can break the dysfunctional habits. Because what dysfunction teaches you is being chosen occasionally is better than being alone consistently. And no, one thing my therapist has always told me is we think it's better to have a piece of a person than a whole person. So men, I want you to stop settling for breadcrumbs for women. You want the whole woman, not a half of her. Women, we're no longer accepting breadcrumbs for men. We want the whole man, not half. Okay? It's better to be alone consistently than chosen occasionally. And with that mindset, you will accept crumbs and call it connection. And that's crazy work. No more crumbs. No more crumbs. Say it with me. No more crumbs. So let's talk about what inclusion looks like. Inclusion feels intentional. Included people experience consistency because people often protect what matters to them. Consistency says, I care about you enough to consider how my actions will affect you. And that truly matters. When someone truly includes you in their lives, communication has clarity. Effort becomes a natural. Your feelings are considered, and your absence is even noticed. Your presence brings peace. There's emotional safety, and the actions consistently align with words. Matter of fact, at this point, turn your volume up, come a little closer, because I'm going to say something I really want you to hear. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency means your behavior repeatedly reflects what you claim is important to you. That's why consideration and consistency go hand in hand. When someone, again, keep your volume up, when someone consistently ignores your feelings, dismisses your needs, and only show up to you when it's convenient for them, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, and I'm going to be your mirror for you. That is still consistency. However, we just struggle to accept the truth behind that type of consistency. They have showed you who they are. Believe them. So let's talk about how dysfunction confuses the two. This is where healing changes everything. When you are unhealed, attention can feel like love, access can feel like intimacy, inconsistency feels exciting. It can feel very exciting because you never know what version of a person you're actually going to get. Emotional breadcrumbs can feel fulfilling. Being tolerated can feel like you're accepted, right? Especially when you grew up fighting to feel like you have been chosen. Some people are not addicted to love. They are addicted to finally feeling acknowledged. If the womb is never healed, you will stay in environments where you are barely valued simply because you fear rejection more than disconnection. I'm going to say that again. You will stay in an environment where you are barely being valued because you fear rejection more than disconnection. But when you go to therapy and you heal, your standards begin to change. You stop forcing connections. It's either there or it's not, and you know when to let go and walk away. You stop over explaining your worth. They either understand it, appreciate it, respect it, or you move on. You stop shrinking yourself just to remain emotionally attached to people who never saw you. Healed people understand that some things are just important. My respect, my time, my attention, my thoughtfulness, my consideration. Healing people understand those are important things. Bringing peace is important to me. Being tolerated creates anxiety. Your body normally and usually recognizes the difference long before your mind does. I have a saying when my stomach hurt. When I say my stomach hurt, it's nine times out of 10, something is off. So I need to go pray and the Lord will show me, but my stomach always tell me something ain't right in the pot. Go ahead and the Lord will reveal it. So my body told me something before my mind even recognized that something was wrong. That's why healed people pay attention to consistency, patterns, consideration, emotional safety, intentional effort, alignment between words and actions. Not temporary attention, not convenience, not inconsistent affection. I need consistent affection, not inconsistent affection. So I wouldn't be me if I didn't leave you something to think about. Are you ready for your reflective questions? Question number 1. Have you mistaken temporary attention for genuine emotional investment? Question number 2. If you stop initiating, overperforming, explaining, and carrying the relationship, what would remain? Question number 3. Are people truly considering your heart or your usefulness? And the last question, question number 4. Do you constantly overextend yourself, hoping people will finally choose you fully? My message to you: stop measuring connection by access. Just because someone lets you stay does not mean they value your presence. Some people only know how to tolerate others because they never healed enough to genuinely include them, because they don't know how to choose themselves. Until you heal, you will continue exhausting yourself trying to earn seats at tables that will never truly make room for who you are. So remember who you are, what you are. Your value is priceless. You are your greatest asset. Thank you for watching. Have a nice and lovely day.